think this culminates in the hyperinflation of the US dollar? It's hard to say. I think that if you just think through it logically, there's no other way. Right. But is it going to happen tomorrow?
And there you hear James Lavish, and he's talking about, is Bitcoin adoption going to lead to the hyperinflation of the US dollar? He's saying it makes sense. That's the only way. There's no other option. But the one thing that we don't know is how much time is left for the US dollar. But it's inevitable. Bitcoin is basically a hedge against any type of fiat. Have you opted out? If you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. Got a jam-packed video for you today, so make sure you watch this one to the end. We got more from James Lavish and what his take is on if Bitcoin adoption is going to lead to hyperinflation of the US dollar. You don't want to miss this, so make sure you watch this one to the end. Getting straight into it, taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart at the current time it's recording. Bitcoin's coming in at 28,363. On the daily chart, we're talking about Bitcoin has flipped green on the Super Guppy indicator. So it's flipped green way back in January of 2023. But looking on higher time frames, what do we see? On the 3-day, we still see this is a bullish indicator because the Super Guppy just turned green as well. This happened back on April 28th, a few weeks ago. This is definitely a bullish indication on the 3-day. And if we look back on the 3-day and see the last time we had a long drawdown, which was a red period, then flipped back to green, we've seen a run up. And how high did that run up go? This run up, once it flipped green, it went up another roughly about 67%. So will we see another 67% move to the upside? That's a possibility. 67% would take us up to roughly that $49,000 threshold. So definitely looks bullish. Looking at the 5-day, what do we see? We're not in the green yet. So the 5-day hasn't been having that confirmation yet, and the weekly hasn't had that confirmation yet, obviously. The higher time frames, if we still get this green call, which it looks like these are coiling up and it looks extremely bullish for Bitcoin, we could see some more upwards price action and more follow through. As you see, once this flips green from a red downtrend, it's definitely bullish on the weekly. An update from TA Trader Allen: Bitcoin and the Sade Momentum Oscillator align each other with the same chart pattern, rising wedge. In this wedge, the Sade MO is passed through the zero lines, been reaching the top. The condition could ignite Bitcoin and send it to a new all-time high. So what's he looking at? He's looking at this indicator below and these rising wedges, and Bitcoin just has continuation out of these wedges to the upside every single time. And we have a rising wedge in this indicator below every single time, passing that zero line. Once it passes that zero line, it continues to go up and to the right every single time, up and to the right. We just passed that line. Are we going to be going up and to the right? And how high could Bitcoin be going? Could we be seeing a $100,000 Bitcoin sooner rather than later? Another update from TA Trader Allen: between the breakout from the macro descending trend line and passing the all-time high, there are two forms of bounce. First, you have the one dive, then the two dives. So what he's looking at here, you have trend A and trend B. Trend A goes straight up to that previous high after that downtrend. Then we have that blast off. Once again, trend A, previous high, blast off. And then trend B was more of like an ABC correction before getting to that previous all-time high. And what are we going to see now? Are we going to see another ABC before we see that previous $60,000 to $70,000 cycle peak? Again, you be the judge. Right now, time will definitely tell. It looks like we could be seeing some type of cool off. Could we have some continuation with A before having a cool off? A continuation after the 2024 halving? But you be the judge. An update from Seth_Finn: Bitcoin is now inside the upper Gaussian channel. We have a flat curve in the range of 30 to 40K until the halving and a new parabola after the 2024 halving. His price target of 2025 will be $150,000 to $250,000 per Bitcoin. Everything in the indicators is mirroring what Bitcoin did over history and definitely looking bullish. We're going to look at this a little closer. We're looking at this on the 3-day. The 3-day Gaussian channel once again has flipped green and is well above the channel. On the 5-day, what do we see? It's not quite flipped green yet, but it will be a green call soon because we definitely are above the channel. Now looking on the weekly, this is where he was looking at, still trading this channel, but the weekly is the best indicator to go off of because once we get through this and once this flips green, it's definitely a bullish momentum. So right now we're sort of similar price action as where we were right here in the 2019 bear market, coincidentally 4 years ago. So Bitcoin is just mirroring what it does over its 4-year cycles. People are saying the 4-year cycles are dead, but they're not. An update from the Rational Root. Look at his Bitcoin spiral chart. It called the bottom once again. It's almost like clockwork. And right now we'll see the halving coming up. And then as you see after the halving, these previous highs here, this is the $100,000 threshold. We blast past this. And how high are we going to go past this? Every time we make a circle, this orange line continues to get towards that $1 million mark. Bitcoin is about to melt faces over the next year or two. We hope that you have your bags packed. And without further ado, let's finish hearing from James Lavish and get his take on what would happen with Bitcoin adoption, and is the US dollar going to hyperinflate because of this? Let's hear from James.
It's hard to say. I think that if you just think through it logically, there's no other way.
Right.
But is it going to happen tomorrow? No. It happen in 20 years, maybe 50 years, more likely 100 years, definitely.
Yeah. Wow.
100%.
And what should people be thinking about?
I wonder is there anything out there that you can think of? Is there anything that you can think of that is not inflationary? So, and gold has a lot of those properties.
Yeah.
It does. But you can't, it's not easy to transport.
Mm-hmm.
It's confiscatable.
Right.
So yeah, we're laughing, but there's nothing that compares to Bitcoin. Nothing. It's not even close. Nothing compares to Bitcoin for holding your value and saving in it. In the world that I envision, I think that gold will operate side by side for a little while, but eventually Bitcoin swallows it all.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is there's just enough confidence in Bitcoin, and there's an ease of using it. The wallets are easy, the exchange, the Lightning Network, whatever. The transactions are easy, they're fast. I think once we get to the point where you have enough users of it, then gold just falls away. And I still think it has its value, and the gold will be the thing that people hold in case something happens to Bitcoin. I believe that will happen, and it's going to take time. It will take some time, but that's okay. We have time. I'm not expecting this to happen overnight. Long term confidence in this protocol. So that's the only way.
Yeah.
And that it gives us hope, though.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you just said. I mean, like, what if we didn't have Bitcoin? Let's ask that question.
Oh, it's a dark world.
Like, think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, gold, you'd have people hoarding just gold.
Gold failed.
And gold failed.
Yeah.
There's so much paper in gold. It's very difficult to trust that as a store of value. Central banks have incentive to keep that away from being a store of value. They want you to keep your money in their currencies, not in something else.
Yes.
So thank God for Bitcoin.